And one. All right, we are here. We are here once again at the Portland Media Center. Once more. I guess the genuine question heading into Season 2, Episode 1 is how many ways I can tell you that we're in the same podcast studio that my first 10 episodes were in. So that's something I'm going to have to get creative with as we continue onward. I also want to start this episode by making a little bit of fun of myself with an anecdote. Have you ever said something so wrong with enough confidence that you thought you were right? Well, some of you folks may notice that in episode 7 with Griffin William Sherry, I did just that. I said with way too much confidence that a rebel was the best kind of fly to catch bass. I repeated this fact a little later on with a world-renowned fly fisherman who told me he had never heard of a rebel fly before in his life. A rebel is not a type of fly, folks. It is a type of lure. So, I wanted to clear up my name before any fishermen or registered Maine guides or the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife listens to this and sharpens their pitchforks. This is why I am a recreational Maine guide, not a fishing guide. My bad, y'all. Thankfully, my next guest knows a lot more about marine life than I evidently do. My next guest is Cynde McInnis, a former adjunct professor at Salem State University, a member of the World Cetacean Alliance's expert panel, and currently a travel educator, bringing a life-sized inflatable whale all across the United States in the Whalemobile. Cynde, I am so genuinely glad you made the trek to be up here on Between the Piers. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very excited to be here as well.
This is so awesome. So let's just dive right into the very beginning. Where did your love for whales originate from?
So I grew up in Indiana.
Oh, wow.
And obviously not a lot of ocean in Indiana.
I was about to say, Indiana's completely landlocked.
Very flat.
Oh, my gosh.
Very green in the summer.
That's
just
nice.
there 2 weeks ago. But we used to go to SeaWorld in Ohio as a kid.
There's a SeaWorld in Ohio?
There was.
Okay.
And it's a part of my story that I don't necessarily like today, but it's where I fell in love with whales. And my mom, I don't even remember going for the first time, but my mom just said I was just gobsmacked the first time I saw them.
Absolutely.
And that was always then something that I wanted to do. I wanted to work with whales. And the key, I realized this years later, was that I wanted to have a relationship with the whales.
Sure.
And so my freshman year in college, that summer I worked there because you had to work in the park.
You worked at SeaWorld?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just worked in the merchandise department.
I hear you.
So I gave out quarters for tens. I could pull out $10 worth of quarters in my hand in one fell swoop by the end of that summer.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sick that you managed to. That's a heck of a party trick. Oh my goodness.
But so I never ended up working there with whales or anything, but I did that summer. And growing up, as we would travel, I mean, anytime we were in a place that we could whale watch, we always would try to go. But in 8th grade, we got skunked. It was pea soup fog the whole day, so we didn't see a whale.
Where'd you go?
In Bar Harbor.
Oh, Bar Harbor. Okay.
And then we went to California, and we didn't see anything out there.
Oh, what's up with that?
We went up to Tadoussac. We were out west. We did see whales out there. Up in Nova Scotia, we saw whales. In Quebec and then in California before I ever started working on the boats.
Super cool. Where's Tadoussac?
It's like 2.5 hours northeast of Quebec City. It's where the Saguenay River comes in. It's this big fjord, and so it comes into the St. Lawrence River, and so there's all this upwelling that just kicks off the food chain. So there's all kinds of whales that come up there in the summer.
What different species?
One of the cool ones is belugas.
Oh.
So they have a population of belugas that is there. But then you could also see fin whales, minke whales, humpbacks, white-sided dolphins, and then they have blue whales in the fall sometimes.
Blue whales?
Went up there a couple times looking for them, but never got to see them up there.
Have you since seen a blue whale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
What is that like? They're huge.
They're huge.
Like, they're absolutely huge, and we definitely have questions about that later, but what is it like seeing the largest animal in the world in one place?
It's amazing. So we actually, 2 years ago, this week on July 4th we saw one off of Gloucester. And I mean, you see this blow that's bigger than any blow you've ever seen.
Okay.
And then they're back, and this little teeny tiny ridiculous dorsal fin. And then usually they don't lift their tails up. Where the ones that I've seen out east haven't lifted their tails up.
Yeah, they seem to be
they're just magnificent. It's amazing that they're so big.
Yeah, it's like an island that just keeps growing and growing and growing. That's so funny. Why do they even have a dorsal fin? Like it's such a big
I have no
animal.
idea. Those animals specifically, you look at it and you're like, what purpose could that possibly serve on your back?
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's one of those vestigial, almost vestigial organs that whales, we tend to find that whales have.
Well, even the fin whales, which are the second largest,
yeah,
they are named fin whale because they have a really big dorsal fin. So on a fin whale, it's like a foot tall.
And on a blue whale, it's just like...
Blue whale, it's this little tiny couple inches.
Oh my goodness. What is up with that? That's super interesting. So was being from a landlocked state like Indiana, like, did that really stoke that fire in you and that appreciation for whales? The fact that they weren't such like a part of your everyday experience?
I think so, yeah. And I think just even the ocean was, my grandparents lived in New Jersey. So when we'd go see them in the summer, we'd go to the beach. So I'd see the ocean once a year, something like that. But it always just was so mysterious.
Absolutely.
And I remember watching Jacques Cousteau as a kid and loving just watching anything related to the ocean.
Jacques Cousteau, Scuba Pro, Aqualung.
Yeah.
Gosh. Oh, Levi's.
But then I think Sundays were like Sunday afternoons or Sunday evenings. He had a show.
Okay.
On The Wonderful World of Jacques Cousteau, I think it was.
That sounds really interesting. I am going to have to...
The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau. That
Jacques
might have been
Cousteau.
what it was, yeah.
Okay. So what was it like seeing your first whale in the wild? What species was it?
So it was a pilot whale.
Okay.
So it was actually right after we got skunked when we went with Bar Harbor. We went up to Chittacamp, Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So we were out on this, it was a lobster boat basically, and we went out and it was kind of a foggy day. But there was a group of about 20 or 30 pilot whales, and that was just really cool. Just such a cool experience. And it was a full, the captain let us drive the boat, and I think I was in 8th grade, so I was 14. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I knew I wanted to do something with whales, but I had no idea. I think that's where the Indiana piece comes in. It's like I had no idea how I was going to do anything with whales because even going to college, I wasn't interested in science. And so I studied psychology because I knew I liked people and I wanted to work with people. And I was almost actually a French major because I thought, I could go work in Tadoussac and speak French and English and talk about whales.
That's super funny.
So my college wasn't like, I wasn't thinking about how am I going to work with whales. I just wanted to.
Yep, absolutely. So you went in the psychology route. But whales were always there.
They were always there.
Always there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I understand you have a Guinness World Record regarding whales. I am sitting in a podcast studio with a Guinness World Record holder. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I started collecting.
Yeah.
I mean, any birthday, I'm like the easiest person to shop for anything because you had to give me anything with a whale.
Anything whale related. Yep.
So my son brought home the Guinness World Record book and I was looking through it, and there was somebody that had a record for the largest collection of hippo-related items. And it was like 600 things. And I thought, I bet I have more whale things than that. And this was at a time when he was obsessed with different people that were getting, world records. So we looked online, and nobody had that record. And so I submitted, like for $5, you can submit I want to, try to get this record on this day. And they sent me a letter back, and they were like, you have to send us a picture of all the items, a spreadsheet, video of 2 people counting all the items. One of them had to be a marine biologist.
What?
So I chose to not have somebody come and document the whole thing. I just did it myself.
Yeah.
Oh, and it had to be set up in a public place.
What? Oh, that must be. Where did you set it up?
So I called my son's school and I set it up at the gym.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Because I also wanted the whale, like the inflatable whale, in it with all the stuff. So it was hilarious. It was like a flea market, but it was all my stuff and all whales.
A whale market.
It was crazy.
Well, hopefully not a whale market, but like
crazy.
That is super, super funny.
It was very fun to go through all the things though, because a lot of the things I remember, even as a kid, like I remember where they came from and who gave them to me or different things like that.
That's super cool. Why did a marine biologist have to count whale memorabilia?
I think because it had to maybe distinguish whales from sharks or I don't know, something like that.
So they needed a marine biologist to come in and be like, actually, that's a parrotfish.
That doesn't count.
That does not count. That is a parrotfish. Did dolphins count? Because dolphins
Yes, they
are
did.
cetaceans.
They did,
okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
But I couldn't have duplicates.
You couldn't have.
So
oh
if
my.
I had two things that were the same, I couldn't count both of them. Only.
Okay. It really bothers me that there is a Guinness World Record for most hippo related items. That room that all those would be in is my personal purgatory. I had a very, very bad experience with a hippopotamus in South Africa when I was down there volunteering on a private game reserve. So being in a room full of hippo memorabilia might just be like my personal hell. Like, I'm just gonna be so honest.
Wait, but you have to share your story.
Oh no. All right. Well, I suppose I can definitely do that. So, and I know that my buddy from Australia, Dom, is going to hear this and he's just going to laugh because he was there too. So it was, oh goodness, it must have been our second week on the preserve. We had been working with rhinoceros. So basically what would happen is a veterinarian would fly overhead and they would tranquilize a rhinoceros, right? And then the rhinoceros would go down and you'd go in and you'd take forensic samples. So what does that mean? You're taking a little bit of its horn shavings, a little bit of its hair, a little blood, little skin, just so they can put it into a database and they can know who that rhino, where that rhino belongs in case that something happens to it. So that evening they decided, oh, let's go celebrate one of the volunteer coordinators' birthdays. It was this gentleman named Richard. It was his birthday. So we go to this local village, Sadwana Bay, which is a great diving spot. Apparently there's whale sharks there, which I know isn't a whale, but they're a great spot for seeing whale sharks. People love it. So we go to Sadwana Bay and we go to this bar in Sadwana Bay. And me being an American who has just turned 18 and is so excited to be of the legal drinking age outside of the United States, decides to drink white wine. And then I started drinking rum and Coke. Now, the age-old adage, of course, being wine before liquor, never been, yeah. So that evening I get really sick, and we're driving from the northern camp, which was called Swillies, down to the southern camp where I lived at the time, or I was staying, called Sutton. Middle of the night, African winter, because their summer is our winter and vice versa. And it's like, oh God, it must have been like 55 degrees. I'm wearing this like windbreaker, like a New Zealand All Blacks windbreaker that I thought like, oh yeah, I'm cultured. I know who the New Zealand All Blacks are. And I'm like in and out of wooziness. And I'm just like, Lord, if you can hear me, please, just get a lion, have him grab me, just take me into the bush and just end it, right? That's the goal. Well, the Lord heard me and decided that he was going to send in a super soldier to really teach me a lesson about taking a break and drinking water. So we're driving down this road and there's this, we have red headlamps or red headlights on the Jeep so that you don't irritate the eyes of any animals because red is easier on the rods and cones. And we just see these two red eyes in the middle of the road. And it's this very, very irritated hippopotamus. So I'll paint a picture for you, Cynde. The volunteer coordinator is sitting there, like trying to accurately gauge the distance to make sure this hippo doesn't charge us. I'm next to him in the fetal position, sobbing, like my time has come. Like this is it. This is it for me.
Are you in an open air Jeep?
Oh, it's an open air Jeep.
Okay.
Oh yeah. There's this lady behind me who's just trying to console me. I'm inconsolable at this point. And Dom, who shout out to Dom and What the Fauna, as per usual. Great podcast. If you like learning about obscure animals, definitely check that out. Dom is in the back with his sweatshirt open, staring up at the sky like, oh my gosh, is that Scorpio? Look at the stars. They're so lovely. Meanwhile, this hippo is like, oh. So, sorry, I'm just reliving it, folks. Bear with me here. And so the hippo starts to saunter off the road a little bit, and we pull up a little bit closer, and it spun around just like that. Now, one thing that movies gets wrong about animals a lot is that like animals will telegraph before they're about to attack you. No, the animal just runs up and attacks you. I have never seen an animal aggressively make a move like that before this hippopotamus. We worked with lions. We worked with Cape buffalo, which are very aggressive. We worked with rhino particularly. We saw a couple of elephants, didn't really work with them that much due to the fact that they're elephants. But that hippo was the most aggressive animal, unsurprisingly to anybody who knows about hippos, that we saw on that entire trip.
That's crazy.
That's the story.
Oh my gosh. Did it hit your Jeep?
It didn't. Thankfully, yeah. Thankfully, it did saunter off into the water, and we went about our merry way. But you know, after seeing a hippo, oh yeah, for sure. So you can imagine, Cynde, that if I was in a room full of hippo memorabilia, that might rehash some old wounds a little bit.
Fetal position.
Oh yeah, no, I'd be like speaking in like I'd just be like. This isn't an ASMR podcast, but I'd just be legitimately messed up. Anyways, we're not talking about hippos anymore. Please and thank you. So, what is the average day like in the life of a whale watch naturalist? Because I understand that you've done naturalism work quite a bit on whale watches.
Yeah, so after I graduated from college, I came out and went whale watching with a friend of mine, and we saw this whale named Zeppelin. And so I had been whale watching once or twice out of Portsmouth.
Okay.
But didn't quite understand that we saw the same whales year after year off the coast here. So we went whale watching, and they said, this is a whale named Zeppelin, and she is 5 years old, and she comes back year after year. And that, I mean, I so remember clearly, my mind was blown. I was like, wait, these animals like swim to the Caribbean in the winter, and then they come back here to the same spot, and you can recognize them. And that was amazing to me. And on this particular trip, this was in 1994, she also swam like right underneath the bow. It was so cool. So she was just right there. And I talked to the naturalist. I was like, this is a job? Like, I didn't even know this was a job. I could get paid to do this. So I left her my resume. And then, like any college student that has no idea what they're going to do after graduation, I drove cross country for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And the day I got home, the woman on the boat had called me to ask me to come out to be an intern. And I was like, yes, let me pack up my life. I'll be there in a week.
Wow.
So I went out and worked as an intern, and then worked in the galley the next year serving food. And I was not good at that because I just wanted to watch the whales. Mm-hmm. And then the next year I got a job as a naturalist. So I did that for about 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I've been doing that. This is year 33 that I've been out.
Oh, you're still a naturalist?
On the boats. Not this summer, but I have been until this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So a day in the life is...
So a day in the life is getting to the boat, setting it up, and then driving. Usually the whales are about an hour away.
Okay.
And one of the things that I did in my early career was I felt like that was such a great opportunity to talk to people. Like there's the time that you're on the whales that a naturalist will talk on the microphone and share what's going on and that sort of thing. But then you've got this hour that you can talk to people and engage with them one-on-one. And so we had an internship program where we had college students that came out and then developed all these different teaching tools. So each trip we would go talk to passengers about where we were going or the fact that we could recognize different whales or what we might see, that sort of thing. Let them touch baleen, the stuff that's in some of the whales' mouths.
Like the bristle stuff? Like the toothbrush bristles?
Stuff, yeah.
Okay.
And then once we get onto the whales, it's narrating the trip. Interns are collecting data on the whales. So we're taking pictures of the individual whales that we're seeing and writing down where they are. And then talking to people again on the way back home.
Oh, wow.
And so that, you know, really trying to make it be something that makes a difference for people. It's not just, oh, let's go out and watch whales. Like they actually hopefully get to learn about them.
Absolutely. And I think that place-based education is very valuable compared to like classroom education. Because in a classroom, you're very disconnected. You know, you're very disconnected from the
context.
The context, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're very disconnected from the context. When I worked in the Appalachian Mountain Club briefly, I worked at Lakes to the Clouds. So there's Mount Washington and Lakes to the Clouds is the hut just right below that. And I used to work there and I used to do the GTTs. And there was always the fact that I could connect it to the place that the people were standing that made it that much more impactful to people, right? Like Lakes was in the alpine zone, which is remnants of an Arctic tundra that used to exist there thousands of years ago, right? So that's the special part about it. And you experience the same thing with whale watching, right? When people see the animals, it becomes that much more impactful.
100%.
Absolutely.
And actually, one of the really cool things that I did in my career, I met this professor from the University of Georgia, John Schell, and he taught a class on contextual teaching and learning. So he was teaching master's, PhD level students about how to teach within the context that the information is going to be used. So he used to bring a class up for 10 years. He would bring a class up to Gloucester, and we would do classroom-based stuff in the morning, and then every afternoon they'd go out on the whale watch, and they would learn about whales in the context of being on the boat, and then at night reflect about how do you take that experience and then recreate something like that in your classroom. Maybe not necessarily about whales, but whatever subject they were teaching.
Very cool.
And so it's so having people learn about them in the presence of them there's nothing better than that.
Absolutely. Having said that, what are some of the less glorious parts of whale watching naturalist work that people might not know or suspect?
I mean, weather conditions are a huge thing.
No doubt. Oh yeah,
so,
no doubt.
There's and it, both ways. Like on the days that it's hot, you're standing there in the sun, roasting for the time that you're on the whales, or for most of the trip. But the time that you're on the whales, if it's pea soup fog, it's just stressful to find them. In terms of you're just looking into the clouds and hoping that you see something. You start like hallucinating whales.
No.
But it's, and then it's also like, I mean, it is actually kind of cool because you're also listening. So like I'll stand with my hands cupped around my ears.
The old fennec fox ears.
To be able to hear things better. And then when it's really choppy, then it's
seasickness.
Yeah. And it's awful when that it's not like that every day, but you get one of those days that's really crummy and you just know that if people had come out on a different day, they'd have a different experience.
And you must feel bad for the folks who drive all the way from goodness knows where to do these things and then they just get skunked.
Yeah. And luckily the skunk doesn't happen that often. And I never understood. I'd be like, why are there so many people that are going whale watching today? It's raining. And then one summer when I went up to Tadoussac, it was crummy weather, but that was the only day we were there. So
yep, it just
we went whale watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many different species of whales have you worked with? I feel like there's a lot of different species of whales. So this is a loaded question.
So I mean, I've seen like 25 or 26 different species.
Oh wow.
Out of Gloucester, it's mostly humpbacks, fin whales, minke whales, white-sided dolphins. Those are the four that we see.
Okay.
But years ago, we had a beluga whale that was in the Gloucester Harbor that had come down.
I think I remember hearing about that.
There was one named Poco. I think that was 2004 or 2005. We've seen Rizzo's dolphins, pilot whales occasionally, the random blue whales, sei whales, right whales.
Yep.
Seen a bunch of different species off here. And then I also worked with Ocean Alliance for a couple of years and was part of their Voyage of the Odyssey program. So that was a 5-year research expedition going around the world studying sperm whales.
I was going to ask.
And so I got to see a lot of sperm whales at a lot of different locations. And then just other striped dolphins and bottlenose and spotted dolphins, false killer whales.
False killer whale. That must be false killer whale. Must be like a dolphin that has the same.
It looks more like a pilot whale.
Okay.
That it doesn't have the killer whale markings,
like the
white eye patch.
Eyes.
Yeah. But kind of in that family.
Wait, why do killer whales have those white eye things?
I don't know.
Oh,
and they're different. Like there's right now they're all one species. Except for the type D killer whales, which are in the not necessarily Antarctic waters, but just north of there.
Wait, there's like type A killer whales? I thought
type A, B, C, and D down in Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
And it's based on different physical characteristics. Like the B and C have these, like they call them capes. They're like a lighter patch on their back.
Yeah, like the gray patch?
Not just there's the saddle patch, which is right behind their dorsal fin.
Okay.
But then the B and Cs have these capes. It's like a lighter wash almost on the side of their bodies. And so then they're based on what they're feeding on. Oh. So whether it's like other animals, I don't remember it exactly, but whether it's other animals or penguins or that sort of thing. But the type D killer whales have these really teeny tiny white
That's really
patches.
Interesting.
So I would assume it's something that's like a false eye spot, like a distraction.
Like a intimidation.
Breaking up the coloration in the water so that in a way they're camouflaged.
That's interesting too, right? Because I understand that killer whales are black on the top so you can't see them when you're looking down, and they're white on the bottom so you can't see them when they're looking up.
And a lot of animals in the ocean. Yeah. Like sharks, seals, penguins, fish.
Yeah, it seems an adaptation that a lot of them develop, especially in predator-prey relationships. Yeah. That is super cool. Oh, man. Killer whales are so interesting. And we are definitely going to come back to killer whales because they have gotten a lot of media attention recently.
Yes, they have.
And in the best way possible. So I wanted to ask, do you scuba dive?
I don't scuba dive.
You don't?
I don't. I love to snorkel.
Okay, snorkeling is awesome.
I haven't scuba dived.
Okay, very cool. So do you think that diving with a whale, its species in general, would be a safe thing, or would you think it would be a bit of a hazard?
So my understanding is that they don't like the bubbles.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that if you are in the water with an animal, you'd be better off with a snorkel.
Sure.
So in the United States, there's no swimming with the whales, but down like in the Turks and Caicos in the Dominican Republic, where these whales go in the winter, you can go down and snorkel with them.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And I think from what my understanding is that there's companies that do it better than others. And so it's always, like everything, research a little bit into how they're approached and how they handle the situations.
The ethics of ecotourism, for sure. Yeah. And that's something that comes up a lot, mm-hmm. for sure. You've mentioned like that you can recognize whales. How do you go about recognizing whale A from whale B?
So, humpbacks all have the patterns on the underside of their tail. And
really?
They range from all white to all black. And then there's, variations in between.
Yep.
So they're literally like people's faces. And when I talk to kids, I'll say this, like if you had to make a list of 300 people that you recognized, you could do that. If you think about family or friends or famous people, we can write a list of all these people that we just recognize by looking at their faces. So the whales are the same. It's just the patterns on their tails.
Really?
And they're born with the patterns. They sometimes lighten up or darken up a little bit as the whale ages, like usually within the first couple of years. But then really the tails don't change throughout their life.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's how you determined, what was it? Poco?
Zeppelin, yeah.
I don't know where I got Poco from. My fault, y'all. Zeppelin. So was Zeppelin have a Zeppelin-looking thing on his tail?
She has these two just kind of white patches that look like a Zeppelin blimp.
You
have to use your imagination with some of them. It's not obvious all the time.
Sure, absolutely. But it is kind of obvious with Nile.
It is obvious with Nile.
So let's transition and let's talk about the Whalemobile, which is kind of a passion project of yours.
Absolutely. I started it in 2012. Mm-hmm. So what was that? 16 years into whale watching. When I first started whale watching, we used to take so many schools out.
Yeah.
And then we didn't. Schools hardly go whale watching now. And I think part of it is the time off task, the cost of buses. It's the whole thing.
The liability too.
And And a lot of times, honestly, they come in the spring and the weather's not great. There were lots of school trips and there's so many people that I talk to now when I ask them if they've been whale watching before, they'll be like, yeah, I went out in middle school. And I'll kind of be like, and everybody was throwing up? And they're like, yeah.
So everybody associates whale watching with like the negativity of like, oh yeah, everybody was seasick. It was miserable.
Yeah. But so I thought, well, people need to learn about whales. And it is always, since I was younger, I always wanted to figure out how to bring whales back to Indiana too.
Right. So was the
as
idea.
A kid or in like high school and college, I envisioned the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and just, I could add a tail and add flippers and paint it blue, and then I'd have kind of a humpback whale. So for years, even before I even really seriously thought about doing it, I've always called it the Whalemobile because of the Wienermobile.
That's so funny. Is it an actual Whalemobile or
not yet? I'm still thinking about it.
Still trying to procure an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Yeah. I looked into it a little bit. I talked to the guy that created it about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
No, I have a minivan and I just have it wrapped. So
Sure.
it's got pictures of whales on it.
Okay, sick. That's absolutely awesome. And then Nile is your whale. So you had the idea, instead of bringing the kids to the whales, you decided to bring the whale to the kids,
Yes.
which is really awesome. So that whale is Nile, who is, how big is Nile?
Nile's 43 feet long.
43 feet? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So now the question is, how tightly can you pack that up?
Really tightly.
No way.
My last wrap was so good. It comes in a bag.
Yep.
So it's probably 3.5 feet long, and it's a wrap that's like 2 feet in diameter.
You wrap a 43-foot inflatable whale in a 3x2?
With a lot of practice.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Wow. So what is the company that actually created Nile?
So there's a company in Minnesota called Landmark Creations.
Okay.
And when I thought about it, I had, obviously got on Google and was like, inflatable whale. And they had made one. They made a mother-calf pair that was hung from the ceiling in the Indianapolis Children's Museum.
Oh, wow.
I thought, well, that's really close to home. That's a good sign.
That's serendipitous.
And they had made like a sperm whale and they had made a fin whale for the Rhode Island Audubon.
Okay.
And so then I reached out and talked to them about making a humpback. Noah had a right whale calf made. So because I remember seeing their calf, you couldn't walk inside of it, but just seeing it at a conference, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to do this. That was the first one that I had gotten to see, in person.
Okay, so I was thinking that the company created like bounce houses or something, and then you call them and they're like, you want us to create a what?
They do. Oh, well, they do advertising inflatables. I think it was the first humpback that they had made that you go inside.
Yeah, that's kind of
cool. So we kind of co-designed it. They'd send me a picture and I'd print it out and be like, no, can you do this? And send it back. And
oh, wow. Was there a lot of did they build prototypes or?
They didn't build a prototype. It was just online. And then the first one they made for me, it was really cool because they created it. It's hand sewn, but then they airbrushed it.
What?
So the airbrushing, they made the whole thing and then they did the, graphic design of the airbrush. And originally it had this really kind of goofy smile. And I was like, no, it needs to be
accurate.
Yep. So that's what I would print out and I'd be like, no, draw the line this way. And I'd send it back to them. So then once I agreed on it, then they airbrushed it. And amazingly, it's still.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
It's still there.
Yeah. The last time I saw Nile was at the Mariners game and it looked absolutely fantastic. It was the Ocean Day. You were there, and then there was also, and your educators are fantastic, by the way. You have a fantastic team, and they really, really are passionate about whales, and that was infectious. And oh gosh, who else was there? Marine Animal Rescue, like Maine's marine animals. And I was just absolutely hooked. Why, of all the whales that you've seen, did you choose Nile?
So October 4th, 1995, I got to call my very first trip by myself.
Okay.
And it was just this flat, calm day. And Nile was right beside the boat, lifting her head up, looking at us. And it was just that was my first time that I was like, oh, I love this whale. And then just over the years, she was super playful. I laugh at myself when I say this. She would often play with the boat when they come up next to us and they'll roll over and their eyes are open. They're looking at us, or the spy hop is when they bring their heads up and they look at people on the boat. Mm-hmm. And she was a very curious whale. She would do that. And then in 1998, she had her first calf.
Oh my gosh.
And I felt like she was just, things changed.
She became a mom.
Yeah. She's just been my favorite. Has just been a favorite of mine over the years. I've seen her every single year and she's just always out there.
Yeah, that's really, really neat. So Zeppelin has the two Zeppelin blimps. Mm-hmm. Nile has
this big mark on the left side that looks like the Nile River.
That's super cool. Then that's where the name Nile comes from. Yep. Super, super cool. Wow. Yeah, no, she just became a mom and she's like, I'm sorry, Cindy.
She's a mom again this year too.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations, Nile. I know you're never going to hear this podcast, but good work. You go, girl. So how many states have you educated in?
I'm up to 27 now.
Whoa.
But some of those are virtually.
Okay.
But doing virtual programs. I've probably been to 15 or 16 states in person.
Yeah, no.
With the whale.
You were just in the Midwest, too. Like last time we were trying to schedule, you were in the Midwest.
I was in Kentucky and Indiana.
Whoa.
And then I had one in Pennsylvania on the way out. And then I was in Connecticut last weekend.
Does it ever get like super like exhausting? Like you're going all over the place.
Physically exhausting sometimes, but I don't know. It's like even the other day I was like, just my body hurt in the morning, and I was setting it up. But then as soon as the kids get there, I love it.
It all goes away.
It all goes away, yeah. And I'm just right. It's one of my favorite times because it's one of those times where I'm fully present in the moment.
Yeah.
With what's going on.
Yep.
And just the kids are so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to circle back. It's funny you said that when you made the decision to work with whales, you wanted to have a relationship with the whales. And with Nile, it sounds like that relationship finally came to fruition. So it's sort of like this serendipitous, like now we have this connection.
Yeah. And even not just Nile, but there's a couple hundred whales that I know. And so 2 years ago, when we name the whales, all the naturalists get together and we name them. We used to do it all in person. So there was this one whale that my name was chosen, and its name was Chairlift. And it's got like two lines, and it looks like a body, and then skis in the corner of the tail. And it was my favorite name. And I saw Chairlift, like I named him in 1997 was when he was first seen, I think. And I saw him like a couple years after that. Didn't see him for 25 years. I thought he wasn't around. And then 2 years ago, he showed up. And I was the only one, I'm one of the older naturalists out there now. Mm-hmm. Maybe not older, but have been there a little bit longer.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, yay, Chairlift is back. And not many other people knew who he was.
They're like, who's Chairlift?
Exactly.
Chairlift's been on a 25-year sabbatical.
But that's like it's such an amazing thing to see a whale that this wild animal that you haven't seen in years.
Yeah, 25. He was gone 25-year sabbatical?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then he just shows up again.
And then he shows up and hangs out all summer long.
It's like when the coelacanth was, do you know what a coelacanth is? Oh man. It's like it was a species of fish, and like they found it in the fossil records and thought it had been extinct for forever. And then they just casually pulled one up on Madagascar, off the coast of Madagascar. They pulled up a coelacanth, cool. And it was like, wait a minute, hold on. That's a coelacanth. Right. And, all the zoologists lost their mind about it. They're like, oh my God, there's a coelacanth. So it's kind of the same thing, right? Yeah. Chairlift just goes off on a vision quest for 25 years and then just shows back up.
Yeah.
What is the goofiest whale name that you've seen? Besides Chairlift. Chairlift
there's one that was named Toothbrush. That was kind of a funny one.
Oof.
I don't even know. There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's over 2,500 whales that have been named.
Oh, wow.
So loads and loads and loads.
Yep. And sometimes you just get real creative with it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, like there was one that's Egret, which is Y in French, because there's a mark that looks like a Y, but that name had been used or.
Sure. So you had to, that's so funny.
So you got to go to a foreign language to figure out a name.
Really funny. There's Y and there's Y2. Except
there's
Y2.
a pi and there's a 3.14.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So there's like a pi, and
like the pi, the math symbol.
Yeah. And then there's
another whale that has the same pi symbol.
That's so funny.
But that one's name is 3.14.
That's super. Yeah, you just got to get creative with it. That's super funny. So it goes without saying that everybody loves whales. Just how everybody loves most charismatic megafauna. Like I think that people have a connection so much more with like. Let me pull one out of the hat here. A musk ox or a polar bear or a Amur leopard versus like a spotted salamander, right? Would you agree that being a cetacean expert that like people love whales?
Yes.
Yeah, like
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
And when they love it, they really love it too.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids that come in sometimes amaze me when they know all the different species and can, tell me things about them because that's all they look at. And
they just love whales.
Learn. They just love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do kids absolutely like typically lose their mind when they see how big Nile is?
it never ever gets old watching kids. So we inflate it in front of the kids. Like the first group that comes in gets to see it inflate from being on the ground, but the next group that comes in, I always try to clip the door open so it's only like half inflated.
Yep.
And they get to see it, and it's so amazing to watch their faces when they watch it. And the volume in the room, as the whale gets bigger and bigger, the volume just goes up because they all just get so excited.
Losing their mind.
Yeah.
And Nile isn't even remotely close to the size of a blue whale either.
No.
Nile's,
she's half the size.
Wow. Have you ever seen in New York City, there's the blue whale in the Museum of Natural History? That thing is ginormous.
It's awesome. So we went on we had programs down there, and we went to the Natural History Museum with two of my educators. And, I love taking goofy photos of us compared to the whales to show the kids. So the three of us laid down on the floor underneath the tail, and then we had somebody take a picture of us. And three of us adults head to toe. We needed a fourth person to make the whole width of that tail.
Just the tail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they're absolutely ginormous. Also, that blue whale has a heck of a cameo appearance in Night at the Museum.
Yes.
When one of the robbers tries to go in and just gets absolutely spouted by that blue whale. What a movie that is. Gosh, when did that come out? I don't even know. It was a while ago. But now everybody knows the Easter Island Maori heads. Or are they? I don't know if they're Maori, but the Easter Island head. Everybody knows them as Dum Dum. So
yeah.
That movie did something. That's for sure. Recently, I know that whales have gotten a lot of media attention as well, particularly a particular band of orca whales off the coast of Portugal have decided to take the eat the rich sentiment a little, maybe not as seriously as orca whales could take that, but they've been waging war on the yachts in Portugal. What are your thoughts on that?
So from what I've read and what I've heard other people say, so orcas are feeding on bluefin tuna.
Okay.
And for years, they would have to spend a whole lot of time looking for their food. But the bluefin tuna population, my understanding is that at least there, it's coming back a little bit. And so they're spending less time looking for food, which means there's more time to chill.
Okay.
And so it seems like, I think that's a pod of about 40 orcas, but it's only like 10 or 12 of them within the pod that are actually going and attacking, or maybe it's attacking, maybe it's they're just playing with the rudders.
Vandalizing the rudders.
And maybe it's, maybe the smaller the boat, the more damage yanking the rudder off does. And that's why some of them don't survive the attack, I guess.
Survive the vibe check that these orca whales just decide to give some of these yachts. I mean, geez, that must be a heck of a wealthy person problem to be like, man, my boat was too small. It did not survive an orca whale attack. I guess that's just a testament to their intelligence, though, right? Because what I heard was the story is like one of the yachts had slighted a female, and she just started rallying the troops against yachts. Yeah,
I heard that one too. And the people that I listened to said that probably was not the case.
Oh, that's a hoax. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I could see it. I mean, they because they are such female-led pods, and the females seem to hold the history of the pod, it seems like maybe it could happen.
Sure. So orca whales are matriarch-led societies?
Yeah.
That makes them just like elephants.
Yes, exactly. Lots
Elephants
of similarities.
are the same way. Yeah, no, because elephants also have really, really good memories. When I was in Africa, there was an elephant, and her name was Enigma. And Enigma had problems. She must have been maltreated by a tour full of men before. Because as the story goes, Enigma would be very calm around women, would be on edge if there was a man in the car, and would bluff charge jeeps full of men.
Wow.
Which is interesting and kind of serves more to that testament of the orcas might just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that very interesting? Speaking of whales getting attention in the press, do you find that some species of whale get more attention than they should, and others might deserve that attention and just don't get it?
I mean, I feel out here, they certainly, I guess during whale watch season, I feel like humpbacks get a lot of attention. right whales get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
Feel like it may be. I feel like it gets more spotlighted on the negative things that are going on with them.
Yeah.
As opposed to celebrating them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know particularly the North Atlantic right whale has been just going through it in terms of like media attention, and there's been just so much going on between like the right whale conservation and the fact that their calving isn't going as great as planned, and then there's the problem with the lobstermen who, who have a lifestyle that they need to and food that they need to put on the table for their families. And it's just like this awful, wicked problem between the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus just celebrating the fact that the right whales are still having calves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think, there are solutions to these problems. And given they're such complex problems because, no, you can't tell somebody they can't go fish because that is their livelihood.
Yeah.
And they need to do it and there's a demand for it. So, that needs to happen. But there are alternatives to going out there and being able to catch the lobsters, but also reduce the harm for the whales. And that sort of thing I wish was more public.
Explored. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
more highlighted.
It's got to be a gear thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there has to be a way, and there's some visionary who will figure it out. There has to be a way to create a lobster trap that is whale safe.
So this is like such a cool thing about interdisciplinary work. There's fishermen, engineers, and scientists that are kind of working. So they've developed this ropeless fishing gear.
Really?
And there's a couple different models. There's one where the rope is spooled up and attached to the trap. And so if you picture a trawl, it's the first trap that is modified.
Yep.
So it goes down, and then when it's time to come out and pick it up, an acoustical signal is sent, and the rope is released. It comes up. So it's in the water column for 10 minutes. It's not sitting there for 24, 48 hours.
Days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's one model. Another model is a bag that inflates that brings the trap up, but they're expensive. And NOAA has a gear lending library. So if lobstermen are interested in trying it, they have access to this library of gear that they can utilize to see how it works and that sort of thing.
And that's the acoustical bag inflation and that's wow.
But that sort of thing, like those exciting stories about how people are collaborating to
so
try to solve these
overshadowed.
problems, those are overshadowed by other things that are happening.
The doom and gloom of like, oh, we're losing the North Atlantic right whale, which, oh man. The right whale has been going through since time immemorial, really. Like the right whale was always, its name is the right whale to hunt, which is terrible.
Yeah.
How's the species currently doing?
I mean, currently, I think the number at the last meeting was 384. They actually had a banner calf year this year, more calves than they've had for years. So
Let's go.
23 babies. A lot of them have been seen up here in the feeding grounds. So I mean, it's been the last 2 or 3 years, population is going in a good direction, as opposed to I feel like the 10 years before where the population was not going in the right direction.
And would you say that that's due to like cross-disciplinary work between like lobstermen and fishermen and scientists, or is it just like we're having a lucky stint? I think
things have shifted a little bit in the ocean, I feel like, in the last couple of years.
What do you mean?
So I mean, it was about 2010. Before that, right whales were seen up in the Bay of Fundy. And a significant amount of the population would be up there. And then I remember going to conferences and scientists just being like, we don't know where they are. They aren't there anymore, but we don't know where they are.
They're
hanging out somewhere else.
They're hanging out with Chairlift
exactly.
on his vision
They're off
quest.
on vacation.
Yep.
And then around 2015, I think we kind of discovered that up in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence, there are right whales hanging out up there that hadn't been there before. 2017 was a terrible year where we lost a bunch of right whales. And it's in the U.S., they had been protected. So because there were right whales overlapping in time and space with fishing, any sort of trap gear, there were regulations in terms of timing or gear to manage that conflict. There was a speed limit when whales are in the area so that ships slow down to prevent a ship strike. Shipping lanes were shifted to prevent ship strikes. But then they go up to this place where they've never been hanging out before, and there's zero regulations.
Oh, no.
But it seems like the food had shifted up there. So at the same time, the Gulf of Maine was warming and getting warmer and warmer. So the food has shifted up to the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and that's probably why they went up there. They're up there. They need to eat all summer long, so that's why they're there. But then 2017, a bunch of whales died. Canada was pretty amazing in putting in regulations pretty quickly to try to reduce some of that because they realized they were being hit by boats. They had a couple whales that were entangled. And so that kind of, we had a couple bad years after that. But then I think the water temperature has changed a little bit in the Gulf of Maine in the last 2 years, and things have shifted. It seems like there's a correlation. I read in a book years ago that's kind of a two-year lag. When the food source is really good, 2 years later the whales are having babies, which makes sense because they need to be fat in order to be able to have a baby. They've got to be healthy. So if there's a good food supply, they're going to be able to get pregnant and carry that pregnancy and have a baby.
Does it take them 2 years?
It's not 2 years. It's about a year to a year and a half. Well, they're pregnant for a year to a year and a half.
Whoa.
So they have to build up, if they have a good food supply 1 year, then 2 years later is when we'll see that.
Oh, wow. I did not realize they stayed pregnant for that long. I mean,
but it's not as long as an elephant.
I guess, is the elephant the longest pregnancy?
The elephant's at 23 months.
Oh my gosh.
And but the elephant has to be fully formed to support itself on land, right? But
That's
then the
true.
whale is born in the water and
it can just float.
For a little while.
Yeah. But then its parent has to come under and lift it to the top so it can take breaths. Wow. 23 months. I cannot, I obviously cannot imagine that. But wow. Right whales. So that brings up the good point that I think that the Gulf of Maine warming is causing a lot of environmental oddities that we're not really seeing, that we're not really expecting. Yeah. I've heard tales, and I don't know if this is true, and anybody feel free to comment that it's not true, but that lobster are actually heading further up north, and now lobstering in Maine is getting less fruitful, and people in Canada are like, we've never seen this many lobster before. We're just pulling them up. Mm-hmm. You can see them from planes, which seems a little far-fetched. But the lobster are heading north, which is going to mean that the things that prey on lobster are going to head north. And then
other things are going to be coming in to where we are.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I think I read once that the closest a lionfish has ever gotten to Maine it was either New York or Cape Cod. All I can say is when they show up, I'll be ready. I would love to lionfish, spearfish. Anyways, whales. We're going back to whales. I just have such beef with lionfish. What is the most fascinating aspect of whales to you that maybe people don't know? There's a lot.
Yeah, there's so much.
There's so much cool stuff about whales.
Toothed whales and baleen whales. Toothed whales live in family units or pods. They live in groups. Not all in family units, but they live in groups. And baleen whales tend to be solitary.
Really?
And part of that is the baleen whales have to eat so much they can feed on their own. They've got the baleen that's filtering so much plankton or fish out of the water. They don't necessarily need to be in a big group to strategically feed. Huh. But there are... I know we're not supposed to anthropomorphize these animals, but I don't know what else you would call it other than friendships. Mm-hmm. Because we sometimes see the same whales coming back year after year and hanging out together.
Really?
And there were a couple of years ago, I always thought if somebody could do a PhD about this one whale named Cajun, it would be so fascinating because she very rarely would be by herself. She'd always be with other whales.
Social
and so
butterfly.
For this solitary animal, she is hanging out with other people. And for a couple years, she was always with Pele and Jabiru. Those were the three, we'd call them Cajuns group.
The squad.
Yeah. And then sometimes there'd be anywhere from 2 to 4 other animals in the group. They'd feed together. They'd hang out together at the surface. If they had calves, they'd also hang out together. The first time Jabiru had a calf. I remember she and Cajun hung out together for a good chunk of the summer. So it just, to me, that's just fascinating. Like, how do they know? Do they say, hey, I'm going to meet you on Jeffrey's Ledge in June? Like, are they hanging out together in the winter? What's going on? That, to me, that's like one of the things that I would love to understand
and
more.
It's so much more complicated. And again, this goes back to the cognition that these animals are capable of due to the fact that their brains are ginormous, right? Like elephants have the kind of same thing going on, but it's with whales, I'd imagine it's to a completely new level because elephants have this much ground to cover and whales have an entire ocean to cover. So wow, that is super interesting. I've also heard that whales have like different regional dialects with their songs. Is that true?
So yeah, so the humpbacks, all the males in the same breeding area will sing the same song. And it kind of, so it's not like, I mean, maybe there's a different like tone. Maybe there's a country tone and a jazz tone or something like that. I don't know, but
whale genres.
It's not an entirely different song. It's a similar song, and it changes over the course of the season. So when they leave, they remember it and come back singing the same song. But it also can change really quickly. So there was a Western Australia whale that went up the east side, so from the Indian Ocean to the Pacific, and then that sparked a change in the song across the Pacific Ocean over the next decade.
He just brought his song up, and people were like,
and
the whales were like, I like
gradually
that.
moved east.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can listen. Roger Payne, who was he was the president of Ocean Alliance when I worked there, and he was the one that co-discovered that humpbacks sing songs. And he always said they were better in the 80s than they were in the 60s.
Oh my God.
Or maybe it was better in the 60s than they were. That may have been what it was. They were better in the 60s than they were in the 80s.
They're just modernizing their songs. What did you do for Ocean Alliance? Was that your naturalism work?
They were partnered with the Whale Watch that I worked with, and so I worked for them sometimes in the winter, but that was who the interns kind of worked for them, and I managed that program. And
wow, that's super cool. And then you were also an adjunct professor at Salem State?
Yeah, so the field of being a naturalist is interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I taught that at Salem State for a few years.
Super, super cool.
It was really cool. And one of the things I loved about it is because I was always have the students they'd stick with the same thing throughout their semester. So they'd have to do different presentations about this topic that they were passionate about. But I got to learn so many cool things about the different topics that they would pick.
What would you learn?
The cavefish were the most fascinating.
Cavefish?
Cavefish are these animals that they don't have eyes because they live in caves. They're totally dark, so over time they don't have eyes anymore.
Huh.
Just
they don't need them.
They don't need them anymore.
Just like the back legs of whales.
Yeah, exactly.
That apparently they have just these tiny little.
They have remnant hip bones.
Tiny little hip bones that just kind of sit there in stasis.
Yep.
Due to the fact that they were at one point. Oh God, what is it?
Land animals.
Land animals.
Pachycetus,
yeah. Pachycetus. That was the one I was thinking.
I have those bones in the whale.
That's super. Do you really? You have them in Nile?
Yeah.
As the little Pachycetus bones?
Yep.
Oh, that's super cool. So, oh man, whale watching is so popular. I'm just thinking out loud here. Where would you like to see whale conservation and whale watching go in the next decade?
Ooh, fascinating question. I think whale conservation, I don't know. I think, whale watching worldwide, I would love to see it ethical.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I'm so spoiled in a way to whale watch in New England because I think we're respectful of the whales. I think our education is top notch. And I work with the World Cetacean Alliance and certify naturalists around the world, and through that have just talked with different people in other places around the world. And some places it's just there's so many boats around small groups of whales that's distressing. And I just think the education that's given can be given a boost, and really have it be an experience that it doesn't have to be like whales are doomed and, it doesn't have to be a really negative story, but a little bit letting people know what they can do to help the animals, like giving them something to take ownership over the direction of how the whales are going to be in the world.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, right? Because if you have this whales are doomed and there's nothing you can do, it's just going to lead people like, one, they're going to leave the boat and they're going to be like, well, that sucked.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm looking at this thing that's not going to exist in the next 10 years. Like, well, and then it's just like kind of, it's like this self-fulfilling nihilistic prophecy where people are like, well, if there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can do. Like, that can't be a thing. You need hope.
Yeah.
You need hope.
Yeah.
These species need hope if they're going to survive, because people need, especially nowadays, people need something to believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think that if people leave the boat and it's all just sunshine and roses, they don't realize that they could do something,
Right.
Don't use your
perfect
plastic
balance.
water bottle anymore. Get rid of it and use your reusable water bottle or metal water bottle, something like that. That's, think about those little, I call them whale safe habits, that you can do.
Yeah.
To start thinking about how to treat the planet better. That's what I think.
It's
I
a
feel like
cascading
whales are
effect,
like it's like the entree into the whole concept of our relationship with the natural world.
Oh man, yeah,
You know
we
that-
could get into biocentrism. I'm such a subscriber to biocentrism versus anthropocentrism. I'll get into very spirited arguments with people about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because humans aren't on top. We're just part of a much
part of it.
larger biosphere.
And we're the ones that can really make a huge difference.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, exactly. We're the
absolutely.
ones that potentially make a difference for the worse. And so we need to make a difference for the better as well.
And education is the tool.
100% the key.
Yep. Education.
And that's what I think with like trying to get kids excited. A lot of times people are like, what do you want the kids to take away? And I'm like, just the whales are cool.
Whales are cool, and I should do something about this.
Yeah.
Whales are
Like,
cool.
that was awesome.
Yeah, whales are cool. The infectiousness of like the fact that whales are just cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which is a great segue into like the fact that whales are cool, and people have liked whales for thousands of years.
Yes.
People think whales are so fascinating. And they've been in such an object of fascination for human beings for millennia, right? Like from the scrimshaws of Nantucket, Herman Melville. Like, we're going to get into all of this. So what is it about whales? You mentioned earlier, you said that kids and people that like whales really like whales. Why do you think that is? What do you think makes them such a special interest compared to other megafauna?
I think part of it is the mystery.
Yeah.
And just it's this air-breathing animal that lives in the water. It doesn't spend very much time at the surface. Most of the time, we have no idea what's going on down there.
Mm-hmm.
I ask myself that. I'm like, what is it about it? And I always just come back to that it's just the mystery and the fascination that we know the tip of the iceberg about them. And there's just so much more to learn.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about just this huge animal is so graceful.
Yeah.
When you watch them go down for a dive, it's just their whole body's involved, but it's so graceful.
It's not
There's nothing clunky about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that they can come up with these magnificent displays, right? When you have one when a humpback whale breaches, it's like one of the most iconic things you've ever seen in your entire life. Why do they breach? Do we know why they breach?
There's lots of different theories.
So we don't know.
No,
There's the mystery.
I know. Sometimes I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was clear communication. Like one whale breaches, another whale breaches back and forth a couple times, and then they'll split up. So it's like, oh, clearly they were like having a fight or something like that. They didn't want to be around each other.
Civil dispute.
Moms and calves. I had this cool day. This happened in like August 8th, 2000, I think. We were going out and this whale Compass had a baby that year, but we saw this whale breaching. And as we get up, we realize it's Compass and the calf is nowhere around. Well, after a couple minutes, this little calf comes swimming back to mom and she stops breaching. So mom was either like, hey, if you're lost, here I am. Or she was like, get over here. And The calf went to nurse. So when the calf nurses, it dives underneath mom's mammary slits, like under her dorsal fin, and comes up on the other side.
She didn't breach while she was nursing, did she?
She did a tail breach. So the calf goes to try to nurse, and the compass lifts her tail up and slaps it on the other side. And the next time they surfaced, both mom and calf had their mouths full of food. And so I think compass was like, knock it off. We're not, you got to eat the way a whale's going to eat.
She was weaning her calf in real time.
Yeah, I think so. So sometimes I feel like we see interactions like that. But then, like, I remember one time being out there and we watched a whale breach like 79 times and we ended up leaving it because it was just breached for an hour. Like, I have no idea why that happens.
Working out.
I mean, it's like the ultra marathoners, right?
Getting its reps in. Just whoa. That's a Stallone. That should be the name of that whale. Stallone. Just working out.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
But communication is definitely like a big one.
Yep, for sure. Wow. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. But the point being, it's just such a iconic display. And that's only the tip of the iceberg when like you watch them come together to hunt fish and they start creating these crazy bubble walls and these crazy bubble formations to get the fish to move. It's like, what?
And when they do that, the whales are in the same position. Like up in Alaska, they'll have groups of 8 or 10 whales, and each individual whale is in the same position every time they feed. Like, it's so orchestrated.
Whales are
How do they do that?
Whales are freaking cool.
They are cool.
Whales are so cool. It's like synchronized swimming. It's like we synchronize swim, but these whales just do it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Do differing cultures have differing opinions on whales? Like, or is it like a universal admiration for these species?
No, there's definitely different perspectives, I think.
Okay.
I mean, a couple countries still hunt whales.
You're thinking of Faroe Islands.
Right. So, but even Iceland, Norway, and Japan are all still hunting whales.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem super profitable. I mean, I read years ago that in Japan they started putting whale nuggets into kids' lunches to try to get them to want it. And I in that same article, I think it was they had done a study and people under 30 very rarely ever ate whale meat as opposed to people that were older. So I think it's changing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe in some cultures they're more revered even.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Than others.
Yep. Yeah. Have you met Paul Watson by any chance?
Mm-mm.
Paul Watson. You know who Paul Watson is?
Yeah.
I met Paul Watson just on a random occasion at an airport. I was flying out of JFK and my dad like taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, that's Paul Watson." And I look up and sure enough, there's Paul Watson. And I've been watching Whale Wars forever and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there he is. That man is my idol." So I nervously walk up. "Excuse me, Mr. Watson, can I get a picture with you? What are you doing here?" And sure enough, he was heading to the Bath, I think it was the Bath Maritime Museum to give a speech on whaling and the state of whaling. And oh yeah, he has made it a thorn in the sides of all the whaling communities.
And brought awareness to what's going on
a global scale. Yeah, Whale Wars was incredible in terms of bringing awareness to the plight of whales, and these people were going in and like it's crazy to think about it, but it was like this act of like protest, right? And shooting I think is butyric acid at these whales and like shooting paintballs at it to really bring the fight to them on this like level that people could really get behind. And I think that's led to a lot of the sentiment change as well. Like that show.
Yeah, because I would guess that most people didn't even realize it was happening.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and that's kind of what I think these groups that do hunt them kind of banked on, right? Is that people didn't know these things are happening. Yeah. Like even in the Faroe Islands, I know the Faroe Islands is like a whole thing that people, it's really come under fire that they like trap all these whales in this cove and just. Yeah, and just slaughter them. It's like people didn't know that was happening. And that's kind of what they relied on, that people don't know. People don't know, right? But yeah, and Whale Wars was like, oh, they're gonna know. So I know that Japan definitely has does a lot less whaling than they used to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, maybe that's just my own opinion, but whales are really cool, and I would like to.
Yeah.
I just don't think they
not
deserve
see as
that.
many of them.
Oh, and that's another thing too. Like, have you watched Avatar? Like the new Avatar, The Way of Water.
Seen it, no.
The Way of Water. You haven't seen The Way of Water?
I haven't seen it. No.
Because there's like the alien whales.
Yeah.
Right, and it's this like whole thing, and there's like a character who like is like a whaler, and it's an interesting addition to this very interesting movie. And just like the connection the Na'vi have with the whales is like the connection people have with whales, just dialed up to 20.
And I love seeing that incorporated into popular culture.
Absolutely.
And I do laugh because I feel like whaleheads, we look at stuff like that and we want it to be accurate. We want all the information to be accurate. But I think as things are incorporated into movies like that, I think it's great for the cultural consciousness of whales.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. That is a absolutely great way of putting it. Have you ever had a kid, and this is a little bit of a transition, we're talking about Nile again. Have you ever had a kid scared of Nile?
We were just talking, I was at a library on Saturday, and the woman said her daughter wasn't coming because she's afraid of whales.
What?
So I have some people will come and they'll be really afraid of whales, like not just like seeing this inflatable, but I've had some people come that are as a way to get over it. Kind of like I try to hold a snake or touch it every time I see it. Still have a phobia, but I try.
Oh, wow.
But people have come to do that. Sometimes, for little kids, they definitely it's a lot for them to
huge.
take in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no.
Okay.
People aren't.
So people use Nile as a form of immersion therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're scared of whales.
Because they're scared of whales, which I find so fascinating.
All right. So this is a great transition. I'm a little concerned right now about the public perception of whales, sperm whales in general. Have you heard about that new movie that's coming out, Whalefall?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dear. So there's a new movie coming out called Whalefall.
Is it based on the book?
It's based on the book. And have you read the book?
I have read the book. I read it. Yeah, I read it right away. I've talked to the author. We had talked about trying to do something because I thought, we could do some events together.
Really?
But we just we couldn't coordinate our schedules.
So you've talked to the author.
So that's becoming a movie.
Uh-huh. It sure
wow.
is. So I'm a little concerned that maybe it's going to go the Jaws route with sperm whales because the trailer is yikes. It is a yikes. It's very, very hard to watch. It is a diver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a diver, and he goes in, he's looking for his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he must be in the Pacific, right? And he's like in this kelp bed, and then sure enough, a giant squid comes flying by, getting chased by a sperm whale. And it's an accident. It's an accident what happens, but as this squid goes by, it grabs him and it starts pulling him. And the trailer is just 2.5 minutes of this guy fighting for his life as he slowly gets dragged into the mouth of this sperm whale. And it's like
so is most of the movie of him escaping?
I'd imagine that flashbacks are gonna do a
big
lot of heavy lifting because I don't know how much people are gonna want to watch this dude flailing around inside a sperm whale. Like I think that's not.
It's more the story of
of how he ended up in this situation and his relationship with his dad, and I don't know. Like the anxiety is the trailer is terrifying.
Yeah.
Right. You just watch this guy.
Yeah.
and he's like screaming the entire time through his regulator, and it's like just inevitable. And I've read all the comments, and all the comments are like, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Like, this is, how many phobias did you want to capture in one trailer? Because a lot of people have thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is a huge thing because the ocean's huge, it's unknown, it's expansive.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody today, and they were like, the ocean's so scary. Scuba diving in the Gulf of Maine must be terrifying because it's like 20 feet. What happens if a shark comes up? And it's like, you're not afraid of maybe you are afraid of the ocean, but you're afraid of what's in the ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I'm afraid of this movie Whalefall, because I don't want it to go the Jaws route where suddenly people are afraid of sperm whales.
Absolutely.
Because of this fictionalization of somebody accidentally getting eaten by a sperm whale. And I guess he survives, right? Because that's like, you read the book. Spoiler alert, folks. Yeah. He does survive. Like, this is not something that would happen. In the book, I'd imagine he's going to survive in the movie too. Like, I don't want to watch somebody just get, like, I don't want to watch that. Like, that would not be a good movie. But.
Wait, so when is that coming out?
Oh, geez.
Do we know?
Oh, I can look it up right now. This is the first time on Between the Piers I've ever looked something up. So let's find out. Whalefall release date. October 16th.
All right.
Yep. And just so you can see it, here's the poster. Would you look at that? Right, like...
That's scary.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not fair to the sperm whales. Like, that's not... Do you think that that's an accurate depiction of, like... Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. What do you think would actually go down? As a whale expert, like, say this situation happens. Like, that's not...
I mean... I think the whale would just turn and look at the person. Right? I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think that, like, and especially with a diver, right? Because divers have, like, metal on them. They have cylinders. The whale would feel it and be like, ugh.
And spit it out.
Spit it out.
Yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
I think.
But I think they're also, like, they are curious. And, I mean, humpback whales, there's a bunch of cases of humpbacks getting in... preventing or getting in between orcas and whoever orcas are attacking,
right? Whether
it's sea lions or gray whales or whatever, so that they're not aggressive animals in any way.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that humpback whales just have beef with orca whales, and they will
protect whatever's around them.
Yep, and sometimes that has been humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Whalefall is a good movie. It'll be incredibly entertaining. Hopefully it's not just this dude flailing around inside a whale for an hour and a half. Like, I don't really want to watch that.
No, focus on the other piece of the story.
Right. I think that flashbacks and how he got into that situation are going to do a lot of heavy lifting. Having said that, I do kind of want to read the novel now.
I enjoyed reading the novel. I mean, he had done a lot of research about the whale's body and the internal organs and talked to scientists and that sort of thing. So it was an accurate description of what would happen if situation.
And so that part was good. Did you as an expert feel like
I found it fascinating to read. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Seeing it on the silver screen is going to be something though.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And then another thing about like diving, they tell you not to hold your breath because as you go down, right, there's compression, right? And then as you come up, there's expansion. If you hold your breath, it's like taking a balloon all the way to the bottom and then just letting it go. Your lungs are the balloon.
Right.
So you're always supposed to breathe slowly and deeply and do not hold your breath. The point being, you're going to tell me he was breathing slowly and deeply the entire time, going up and down and up and down and up and down in this whale's mouth? Like,
yeah, no.
And then not to mention, there's also nitrogen, like there's nitrogen diffusion, right? And
bubbling out. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Bubbling out, getting the bends. This guy would have been in a world of hurt just going up and down, trying to escape this sperm whale. I just think that it's going to be an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But people need to know that it's just a movie.
Will be interesting to see the response.
Yes. So I just hope it doesn't go the Jaws route where people get really afraid of sperm whales because of this one depiction of them that's not based on accuracy.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's gonna be a movie for sure.
Yeah.
And then whales are used a lot in literature as well. Have you read Moby Dick?
I listened to it, yes.
You listened to Moby Dick, and whales are absolutely used in literature as literary devices.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Moby Dick?
It was a slog.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my God, ain't that the truth?
I don't think I could have read it. Listening to it was okay. I don't think I would have. I probably would have put it down. I mean, I think it's fascinating to hear. For me, it's like, what do they know about whale biology when it was written,
Right.
And how we've learned different things. I think that's a fascinating perspective. Yeah. I went out to his house last year, the Melville House, which is in Western Mass.
Oh, no kidding.
Had us come out, and so I went and did a tour of his house, and that was really cool to see his space. And there's his writing desk, you look out the window, and there's a mountain that is sort of in the shape of a whale.
Nice.
That he used to look at.
And that's what inspired, or maybe that's what inspired Moby Dick. Moby Dick, obviously, the book, I read it. I tried to read it sophomore year as part of in high school as part of right? Oof. Like, it was brutal.
Yeah.
As a literary project. I made it maybe 300 pages, and I'm like, this is just
too heavy.
Yeah, it's way too heavy. There's a lot of writing, and the whale in Moby Dick is more of a symbolism of like Captain Ahab's like obsession.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's not a book. If you're reading Moby Dick because you want to hear about a whale, like
find a different book.
Find a different book, or maybe go check out the Whalemobile. Like, that's what you want to do, right? Because the whale is such a literary device in Moby Dick. I just hate Moby Dick. I
had a class of BU. A teacher taught a whole semester on Moby Dick.
Yikes.
And had me come in, and I took all the kids in the whale.
Yeah, and I bet that was the most interesting day of the entire thing.
Probably was.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I feel like it's a very, we're coming back to the whale fall. We're coming back to Moby Dick. We're coming back to, like, do you think that there's a different sentiment exhibited between baleen whales and toothed whales? Do you think that people have different opinions on toothed whales versus baleen whales?
I mean, maybe because killer whales are toothed whales.
Yeah.
And I mean, killer whales and sperm whales being the main toothed whales that you hear about, which will be really interesting after this. Then you've got the orcas that are eating boats and sperm whale eating a kid. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know if there's really a different sentiment about the different kinds. And I say that because I think people vaguely know that there's different kinds of whales, but not necessarily.
Right. So it's a very real trope we see where a significant piece of media causes extreme damage to an animal species reputation, right? So with the orca whales, it's actually, I think people really like the fact that orca whales are like ripping apart yachts. They're like, ha, take that, rich people, which I think is just really a funny irony. But with this sperm whales, it'll be interesting to see if this movie makes the general sentiment of sperm whales negative.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think of hyenas, what's the first movie you think of?
Lion King.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And hyenas are these incredibly fascinating species. They're also matriarchs, right? They have these very complex social structures, very, very strong female leadership. But people just think of like the sleazy henchman of Scar in The Lion King.
Absolutely.
And then great white sharks in Jaws.
Yeah.
Right? So do you think that a lack of education on what this species is really like leads to this phenomena?
Probably. And I think the lack of accurate portrayal in movies. I mean, I'm talking about Finding Nemo all the time.
Okay.
And how Marlin and Dory cannot escape through the whale's blowhole. That's not possible.
It's not anatomically.
No, I sat in the movie theater and I was like, no way they're going to be pooped out. But in my mind, like that was the only way that they would get out of the whale's mouth is going through the whole system.
Right.
And in my mind, I remember so distinctly watching it and just thinking, how is Disney going to make this happen? Like it didn't even occur to me that they would get shot out of the blowhole. But I still talk about that today. I think that movie came out in 2002.
Yeah.
And I still talk with kids about it today, about how that's not
just anatomically.
It's just not correct. You know, that's not what happens. But it leads to these misconceptions that water is what comes out of the blowhole and it comes from the mouth. And I still have kids ask, you know, they're like, but how does the water in the mouth get out of the blowhole? I don't get it.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's air.
And I'll explain it again.
Wow.
But I think that it's like that when they're portrayed in these things in popular culture, not in the most authentic way, then it's like people latch onto those inaccuracies.
And that's your role as the educator, right? It's your role to come in and be a steward for these animals that are unfairly portrayed. Yeah. So that's a very
and correct those misconceptions.
Yeah, that are so widespread by media. Yeah. So you have that's a very admirable and very noble goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, whales are so cool. So I like to end my podcast episodes with a bit of a funny question, right? Just to wrap it all up. And, sometimes the conversation gets a little heavier. So I like to have like a funny little question. So I have a great one for you.
Okay.
So do you use LinkedIn?
I do.
Or have you used LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if whales had LinkedIn profiles, which species would be the one to fall for a Ponzi scheme? Which species would be the one like reposting all the motivational jargon? Which species would be the one constantly complaining about work? And which species would be aggressively looking for entry-level jobs?
Oh, let's see. Okay, the entry-level jobs might be a dolphin species. That's what I thought of when you immediately. That's what I came to as a dolphin. Some species of dolphin.
Okay.
Posting the
motivational jargon.
The motivational stuff. I mean, I almost have to say humpbacks just because they're so like taking care of other animals.
Yeah.
You know, that they're going to be the ones try to inspire.
Yep. And they're the ones that jump and they have that incredible.
Yeah.
They're just look at me.
Yeah. The Ponzi scheme. Let me see.
It's so apples to oranges, and
I was gonna say maybe like a beaked whale or something, kind of
a Baird's beaked whale.
Like that. Yeah. What was the third one?
Complaining about work.
Oh, complaining about work. I was thinking about a blue whale. Like, oh my God, I gotta eat so much.
I gotta go.
I gotta do this again.
I gotta travel all the way there again. Yeah, he has the longest commute of all of us.
Yeah, or just like has to eat the most. Like. Just hours in the day, just eating.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It must be such an interesting life being a blue whale. Oh goodness gracious. So Cynde, we talked about a lot.
We did.
We talked about whales. Whales are so cool. We talked about your experiences as a naturalist. We talked about Nile. We talked about the Whalemobile. We talked about whales in Portugal. We talked about whales in Antarctica. We talked about killer whales that have very, very small fake eyes.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And we talked about the movie Whale Fall. So I will definitely be in theaters watching it, maybe against my better judgment, and I imagine you will too.
I will be too, yeah.
All right. And we'll have to circle back and I'll be like, so Cynde, what did you think about that? Yeah. So if you ever want to be on a future episode just to talk about Whale Fall, let's make that happen.
Let's plan on that.
Sweet. Awesome. Cynde, thank you so much for making the trip up here. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Season 2, Episode 1 of Between the Piers. And as always, I'm not going to stop saying it just because it's Season 2. Stay weird, Portland.